This time I'd like to call the July 7th regular Anderson County Council meeting to order. And at this time, I'd like to ask Councilman Cole if he'd lead us in invocation, pledge allegiance. Will all rise, please?
Let's bow for prayer. Heavenly Father, in light of recent events, you tell us in 2 Chronicles 7:14 that if your people who are called by your name will humble ourselves and pray and seek your face, turn from our wicked ways, then you'll hear us from heaven, and we'll forgive our sins and we'll heal our land. Father, I ask today, touch our hearts and guide us to humbleness. We as a country, state, and nation, or as a county, state, and nation, turn from our wicked ways and seek your forgiveness and ask you to put your healing hand upon our land. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag, United States of America, Republic, which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. Cole, appreciate those gracious and kind words. Inspiration to us all. Before we go into any further business tonight, Ms. Floyd has called and is going to be unable to attend tonight. Best wishes. And sorry, just a second here, find my place. Resolution 10A will be pulled. Resolution 10A, her request. Moving on, approval of minutes of the June 2nd regular council meeting. Are any changes or corrections to be made? Ms. Wilson?
Yes, sir. Thank you. On page 18 of A, line 32, I believe that was Mrs. Floyd. There was a typo and combined two council members' names. And let's see. Then on page 68, line 18, food account they spent would be past tense there. And line 23, another spent rather than current tense. And I believe that's all I noted. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion to move forward with June the 2nd, I'm sorry.
I moved.
Motion, Mr. Wilson, second, Mr. Crowder. All in favor of the motion, show of hands. All opposed, like sign. So the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to the approval of the minutes of the June 16th regular council meeting. Are there any changes, corrections to be made to it? Hearing none, have a motion to move forward. Motion, Mr. Cole, and second, Mr. Allen. All in favor of the motion, show of hands. All opposed, like signs. All abstained, show. Mr. Crowder. So the motion carries with Mr. Waters, Mr. Allen, Mr. Cole, Mr. Dunn, Ms. Wilson in favor. Mr. Crowder abstains because he was under the weather, was not here at the last council meeting to address that. Moving on to item number 4, citizens' comments. This will be have 3 minutes to speak on agenda items to start with, and please state your name and district and address the chair, please.
Mr. Chairman, there are no citizens signed up.
I think Tom wants to run that. Tom, you want to run down and talk a few minutes? Maybe a first. Item number 5, presentation by Conservative Patient Awareness Association, Mr. Leonardo Ortiz.
Chairman, I believe he's in attendance.
Did he call or say anything to anybody? You hear anything, Ms. Kim? Mind me with me and you'll talk after this meeting then. Moving on to item number 6, request to be heard concerning blue laws of the county. Mr. Danny Wolf. Wolf here. He called anybody? Mr. Kim, did he talk to you or anybody? Mind to see me after the meeting on that too. Ordinance third reading, 7A, 2015-018, ordinance to amend agreement for the development of joint county industrial and business park, 2010 park of Anderson and Greenville counties as to enlarge the park. This will be a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this matter, please step forward, state your name and district, and address the chair. It's been a public hearing. Anyone at all wish to step forward? Hearing none, seeing none, public hearing will be closed. We have a motion to put this on the floor. Motion, Mr. Crowder, on the floor, and second, Ms. Wilson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, show of hands. All opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item number 8A, 2015-017, ordinance first reading, ordinance requesting major amendments to a Midway Ridge PD, that's a planned development, statement of intent on 12.81 acres, tax map 147-00-07-05, located on Midway Road, entitled owner Mr. Michael Foreman. Foreman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a plan development major change request. You've had this before you a couple times. This one is now requesting 3 changes. Change 1 being that the houses be sized from 1,550 square feet to 2,250 square feet. Second change requested is the houses to be of brick or stone fronts with gable shake or board and batten accents. And the third change is a minimum 10-foot rear setbacks. This will be first reading.
Any questions, comments, Mr. Foreman? We have a motion.
Make a motion.
Mr. Crowder.
What a week will do. I do want to thank the developer for working with me and council and others to bring forth this. It shows what working together can get done instead of taking positions. Thank you again. I make a motion that we approve this item.
Second by Ms. Wilson. Motion by Mr. Crowder, second Ms. Wilson. Any further discussion? I do want to also just quickly comment on I always try to myself look at whoever's district it is and play heavy on that, and I want to appreciate the time and effort work Mr. Crowder put on this on behalf of his district and developer, working with him and trying to do us. We only not trying to hold nobody out, not trying to do what's best for the county. Appreciate the job the staff's done on this too. Mr. Foreman come back, so hearing no one else, all in favor of the motion, show of hands. All opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously on first reading. Moving on to item number 8B, 2015-020, ordinance amending section 38-711 of the Anderson County Code so as to add a provision regarding improvements to county maintained roads and matters related thereto. Coming from me, put that in form of a motion. Second, Ms. Wilson. Now, any discussion? Put this on form of motion, a little background. I think I've talked to most all y'all about this. We don't have nothing in our, I was told we did, but we don't have nothing in our ordinance about maintaining dirt roads or gravel roads, and all this is just saying the council should have a say. If this comes up, we can't take care of maintain roads that's in there, that's paved and whatnot. We sure I don't see me going out and putting this right here because, and then researching this, and I think Mr. Harmon found out today, we don't have ordinance. It was done away with in 2002, I believe, or 3.
2003, Mr. Chairman.
Yep. This to give staff something to go by and the administrator and things whatnot on this right here. Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion on first reading, show of hands. All opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item 8C, 2015-021, ordinance amending section 2-6 of the Anderson County Code of Ordinances so as to state time frame for recipients of recreation fund appropriation report on the use of such funds and the consequences of failure to report and other matters related thereto. Again, I put this in form of a motion.
Second.
Now for discussion, I'll just start off with saying, in talking to Ms. Kim, I didn't realize we haven't been following, or people haven't been following our ordinance as far as it plainly says. It comes back and says what the money is spent on. It hasn't been. If we got an ordinance into my understanding, talking to Ms. Kim through the attorney, this here will align us more to with state law. And sure, we're following state law a little bit better on this on these rec funds, and this will And what this is it's just as simple as plain and say, is just saying, if they don't do it and give them, put a time on it, I think 60 days is more than lenient. If they don't do it right there, they request money again, they won't get it. I'd like to see it a little bit more, but I think this is a start. Mr. Allen?
Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman?
Mr.
Mr. Allen.
Yeah,
first.
yeah, I just wanted to be sure, and I wanted to check with Kim on that. Is that going to be easy to track? Is there a,
Easier than what we got now.
okay, it's not, well, I'm just looking at additional workload or anything like that.
This is, I'll be perfectly honest and upfront. It's got my name on it, and I'm proud to put it, but this come from Kim. It's make it easier on her to do her job.
Okay. And I didn't know if we needed to specifically
Attorney.
say in here, it just says the clerk. I didn't know if we needed to say clerk to council, or is somebody going to think we're talking about clerk of courts or clerk of someplace else? That's picky.
Change, yeah, but it ought to be that way, though. We can change it to second
It
reading.
should say clerk to council.
Clerk count, we can do
Just
it.
to
We can
be-
change that to second reading.
make it
Second reading, if
clear.
that's all right, Mr. Allen. Make a note on that, Mr. Harmon. Get that changed. Second reading.
And I know we have a 60-day time frame on there, which I think sounds pretty good, but I'm just wondering if somebody has a major project and it takes them 90 days or more to get the paperwork and get things done so that they would have proof to send in here. I don't know if there's any way to add a little bit of leeway to that, or if we just want to keep it at 60 and play it by ear
I think we can
from
keep it
there.
at 60 myself, and if somebody comes up, this just saying what you're going to spend it on. It's only, and like I said, if they need a little extra time, I think they can come forward, cancel, and ask for grace. I think it'd be easier to ask for it myself.
Okay. And then it will be, as I read this, it'll be up to the clerk to make that determination as to whether the information is suitable?
Yes, Mr. Allen, that's the way the original ordinance was drafted.
Okay.
And this one it stays the very same
Okay.
under the amendment.
And if at any time she would have a question on something, she could certainly bring it to council.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wilson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to propose an amendment or an additional line at the end of the sentence on paragraph 2, if we would consider adding the following. Entities receiving such funding are subject to audit regarding use of the funds. That way, if there's a question, then we can call forth an audit if necessary.
Put that in form of motion.
Yes, sir.
We have a second. Second, Mr. Crowder, now discussion. I've got no problem with that on the first reading. Look at it. My only thing is, and I know it would be council would have to vote on it, be full council for this. Make sure that language is in there, Mr. Harmon, do it. Because what my concern is, if we give somebody, let's say $300 and going to do an audit at the county's expense, what's that going to cost us? You know what I'm saying? You got to be a little careful on that right there. But it ain't just saying it gives us the right to do something other. And that definitely, I think, needs to be a little bit more tight and range than what we got. So I just want to throw that out there. Mr. Allen?
Let's say you brought up a point about it could cost us money on that, but I was
Call
thinking,
somebody.
yeah, maybe to do the audit, but maybe by the same token, since any question could come to council, maybe council could be the defining authority on that.
Well, on that it would need to be. On the audit, that's why I was asking Mr. Harmon. We need to on the second reading, that needs to be voted on before council or
Okay.
audit. My opinion.
Yeah.
Is that agreeable with you, Ms. Wilson?
All right. Thank
Any more discussion on the amendment? All in favor of the amendment, show hands. All opposed, like sign. So show the amendment was unanimous. Now vote and go back to the original motion. Any more discussion on that? All in favor of the original motion, show hands. All opposed, like sign. So the motion carries unanimously. I want to thank Mr. Harmon and Ms. Kim for all the work they've done on this. Moving on to item number 9, is that tabled? We have Mr. Burns, item number 9. We are,
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
after a long wait, okay.
Yes, sir. We received bids for the asbestos abatement for the 2 buildings directly behind here, the Bells Building, Woolworths Building. We originally had 10 vendors to come to the pre-bid meeting and walk through, and actually they had 2 other occasions they could walk through the buildings. We received 5 responses. ranging from low bid of $102,864 by Dean Hunter and Company up to $258,850. And staff recommends award to Dean Hunter and Company of Anderson for the $102,864. It will, once we, if it's voted on, we issue a notice of award. They have to get the bonds, payment performance bonds to us, sign the contract, and it will take approximately 3 weeks to get started once they get the approval from DHEC.
We gotta make sure the building will be empty, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you.
I almost wanna make sure I'm perfectly clear. I don't wanna get an email tonight or in the morning.
No, sir. Will be vacated, and records also will be removed as well as.
Anything else, Mr. Carroll?
Sir.
We have a motion to move this forward. Motion, Mr. Crowder, second, Mr. Allen, any discussion? How long did this process take, Mr. Carroll?
I believe we gave the contractors 45 days.
I mean, how long y'all been working on this to get this done? How long did it take? 45 days?
Probably.
Just one. All in favor of the motion? All opposed, like sign, so motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Carroll. As I said, item 10A has been pulled. We're moving on to item 2015-037. That'll be item 10B, a resolution to establish the fiscal year 2015-2016 funding levels for the 9 municipalities of Anderson County for their street maintenance needs and other matters related thereto. We have a motion to put this on the floor for discussion. Motion, Ms. Wilson, and second by, motion, Ms. Wilson, second, Mr. Waters. Mr. Crowder. Mr. Crowder, if you would, I'm sorry.
I would like to withdraw District 1 the $70,000. And should the city submit appropriate projects, then at that time, through the normal process of council meetings, I could transfer the money to those projects that I
Mr. Crowder,
agree.
if I may, just a suggestion. How about if we leave it like it is and make the amendment to them to submit projects for council approval?
Well, the thing about it is, I don't want to tie myself down to the fact that it's going to be $70,000
Okay.
on the hit, and here's the reason why. We don't have the amount of the award of what the bid's going to be for the East-West Connector Parkway. You know, we started out, that project was going to be $14,000. It is now 10 times that amount. Yeah, and so consequently, until those things are assured, I would like to have that kind of leeway. If
Okay.
you don't mind,
Yes,
please.
sir. We have, so you, Mr. Crowder makes the motion, the amend a motion to withdraw the $70,000 out for the city of Anderson from his part. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Second, Ms. Wilson. Any further discussion? All in favor of the amendment, show hands. All opposed, like sign, so the amendment carries unanimously. Now back to the original motion. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Allen?
Yeah, something Mr. Crowder mentioned. What has gone up 10 times the original amount? Was that for the parking lot?
The parking lot, at the park, at the East-West Connect.
Yeah, but it's just,
Say they, first of all, we had to get a professional engineering group. Is that not correct, Mr. Burns?
Meet with Duke Power, then we had to get a professional engineering group. We engaged a landscape design firm to come up with that. We just, in the last day or two, received another approval that we needed. We've gotten that. I think we got it today or yesterday. And so that's what the process we've been going through. And because it's on the East-West Parkway, we have to be very careful with stormwater and all of those other elements. But we haven't bid the project at this point in time.
Yeah, and see, I've sort of committed myself to the residents of that area. I did meet with both Mr. Hopkins and Mr. Burns last week, and we rode through the areas that I had concerned about, and I I had no problem with the list that they had of things they wanted in the county to use the money for, other than the fact that I wanted my number one priority to be this parking lot. I had no idea that it was going to cost that amount of money, and the end result may be that I will release the money as soon as I can review the plans, which I got today. Mr. Burns was kind enough to give them to me today when I came up here for the first time, and I will review those tomorrow. And if it's going to cost $40,000, I just don't think that's a lot of bang for the buck of 14 parking spaces. And so then that means that I could then release more money to Mr. Hopkins to do the paving of roads in District 1. I'm not trying to hoard the money.
Yes, sir. Understand. And more discussion on the original motion. All in favor of the motion, show of hands. All opposed, like sign. So motion carried unanimously. Would indulge me just a second while we on this. I won't have to, I was going to touch base on this when my comments then, but I want to ask all the council members, and just keep in mind what this was the giving money to the cities such as Belton and whatnot about it. But each council member, I think, should have a list of roads, either you agree with or don't agree, but we want to get this contract out. We got to contact C-Fund about getting some funds from them, so let's make sure we want this contract to hit the street in December, 1st January. So get your list. We have had in the past some time frame. So each council member needs to get this list approved. Look at it and get with staff. You got time to do it now, not rushing. But I know a couple of years ago we had some council members. I don't think no longer on this council. It took a while, didn't submit, but this is going to be done. Your roads just get left off. We're going to get a contract out. This will be the first time we've actually got a paving contract out since I've been on council. We're going to get this done. We shoot for January. Moving on, next to be a report from June 18th, Planning and Public Works Committee. Ms. Wilson, Chairman Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Planning and Public Works Committee, consisting of Mr. Cole, Mr. Waters, and I met on the 18th of June at 12:30 to review the Chapter 2 of our county comprehensive plan and discuss other related issues. The South Carolina Local Government Comprehensive Planning Enabling Act of 1994 requires a community facilities element which considers water supply, treatment and distribution, sewage system and wastewater treatment, solid waste collection and disposal, fire protection, emergency medical services and general government facilities, education facilities and libraries and other cultural facilities. This chapter represents a review of approximately 40 departments divided among 8 divisions, 9 elected and 5 appointed offices. We began with an acknowledgement that under our Sheriff's Department, the detention center is in need of upgrades and expanding. Our population has increased and correspondingly so has crime. The jail was built in 1956 and has been renovated and added to several times over the years. Currently, there are 257 beds, but average daily inmate population exceeds 330. There have been estimates costing $16 million to upwards of $30 million to remodel and expand or build. Obviously, we have much to consider to address those needs. We reviewed our organization of the Sheriff's Department, which employs over 350 law enforcement officers, covering many public safety operations, and includes 4 19-member platoons that patrol Anderson County 777 square miles. The Sheriff's Department covers many law enforcement functions ranging from detective to a forensics lab to vice and narcotics units to joint gang task forces, warrant civil units, providing court and building security and school resource officer programs, lake patrols, aviation, and canine units. The Sheriff's Office has much to keep up with, additionally necessary training programs. Also under the Sheriff's Authority are our 911 Communication Center, Departments 5213 and 5213-1, and Department 5212, which has had a name change over the years and currently is referred to as emergency services, resulting in confusion with emergency medical services. Our committee voted 3-0 to recommend to County Council that emergency services name be changed back to emergency preparedness as a more accurate reflection of its role in public safety. This will be presented in resolution form at our next council meeting. We also requested that a presentation to County Council be made soon regarding our detention center and juvenile facility needs. We examined our rapidly changing emergency medical service EMS structure due to many influences ranging from the Affordable Care Act requirements to increasing population, traffic, and cost. Our committee voted 3-0 to request our council chairman to appoint an ad hoc committee or task force to review and recommend needed adjustments. Currently, the county is composed of 8 professional EMS agencies providing services on a contract basis to the county, with 12 ambulances. The county further provides quick response vehicles, staff, and equipment to aid in shortening response times. There's much coordination and communication among our many related public safety forces. Many of our employees and volunteers are cross-trained. We can be particularly proud of and grateful for the level of fire protection provided in our county. The county fire system is governed by 5 fire commissioners appointed by the governor. The 5 fire districts in our county follow the boundaries of our 5 school districts. There are 29 fire stations with over 800 volunteer fire department fighters, 61 engines, 27 water tankers, 28 grass trucks, and numerous service vehicles operated by the County Fire Commission. Municipal fire departments handle fire response within city limits. Because there are so many volunteers who subject themselves to extensive training requirements, sometimes at personal expense, and being on call at all hours of the day and night, Anderson County homeowners benefit from favorable ISO insurance service office ratings that translate to lower homeowner insurance cost. Our county citizens further benefit by mutual aid agreements so that there is an adequate to excellent coverage everywhere in Anderson County. Our solid waste discussions covered the ongoing efforts for recycling and litter control. We have updated and expanded most of our county's convenience centers, which are conveniently located throughout our county to serve our citizens. Most recently in District 6, the new Slabtown facility opened. The water supply and wastewater treatment section required our acknowledgement that the Anderson Regional Joint Water System is the primary provider of water. It is the partnership of rural and municipal water districts that distributes treated water to its wholesale customers. While Anderson County is not a water supplier, it is the goal of the county to work with the suppliers to ensure citizens receive the highest quality water possible. Our committee recommends that the joint water system develop interconnective capabilities between the suppliers to address any potential crisis. Water is currently pulled from the Saluda River via the Belton Honeypath Water Authority and from Lake Hartwell via the Anderson Regional Joint Water System. And of course, we have private wells. Powdersville Water District, so far, is the only water system that can access other sources of water if the joint regional system is down. We must address this deficiency soon to avoid another avoidable crisis as was experienced 2 to 3 years ago. Regarding public wastewater treatment other than private septic tanks, we looked at the county's ownership of a single wastewater treatment plant, 6 and 20, and our ownership of capacity in several municipal wastewater treatment plants, including Pendleton, Williamston, and the city of Anderson. There remains a hodgepodge of municipal sewer systems in our county. For example, West Pelzer is sending their collective effluent to REWA's new plant in Anderson County near Piedmont and the Saluda River. Belton is building a new plant. Honeypath sends their effluent to Ware Shoals. Williamston and Pendleton own their own plants. Iva unfortunately agreed to send their effluent approximately 17 miles to the city of Anderson through a poorly planned forced main lift station line. They are currently in arrears. The county also agreed to very expensive, uncontrollable, questionably permanent terms with the city of Anderson. The subject of sewer continues to be expensive. Our committee noted that several orphan, smaller package plants exist in our county to serve housing developments in areas where the soil would not perk, or because the lots were too small for individual septic tanks. We believe and recommend that there be bonding requirements implemented to avoid the future nasty surprises currently experienced by unsuspecting homeowners in several areas. The committee also suggested that the possibility of performance bond requirements be considered for completion of developments. Also, research for better housing construction requirements may be needed. We reviewed briefly the county library system and recommended that the county library board review the Pelzer, West Pelzer, Williamston library needs. The existing Lander library has become too small and needs updating. In all, our countywide system of libraries consists of 9 branches with 145,500 square feet of building space, housing 369,930 items, including books, reference volumes, computers, etc., and employing 57 full-time and 47 part-time staff. Our librarians and libraries perform amazingly well in our county. Our libraries continue to adapt, giving greatly appreciated value in a changing environment to our county citizens and students. Several renovations have been completed, and we have just paid off the bond for building the new Powdersville and Pendleton branches. The subject of parks, recreation, and open spaces requires greater study. We only scratch the surface. We're blessed with so many outdoors and recreational opportunities in our county, representing a key component to quality of life. We have over 2,156 acres in county and municipal parks ranging in description for size and use, including but not limited to ball fields, tennis courts, gyms, lake and river, fishing and boating accesses, walking, biking, and riding trails, playgrounds, and picnic areas. This does not reflect the entirety of public access offerings in our county. The county PRT, Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Division, oversees facilities and programs, including but not limited to our Civic Center, Sports Center, Museum, Farmers Market, the parks, and numerous ramps. The county council appoints members to a 7-member board that establishes fees and provides recommendations and advices to policy and programs. Many considerations and updates must be addressed in the future. A chief concern is ADA compliance requirements. Our county began efforts years ago in making our public facilities accessible and useful to all of our citizens. Much remains to be done. A countywide park and recreation master plan has begun and development is ongoing. And please note, in reference to our excellent schools, that our county government has no jurisdiction over our school system. However, we endeavor to work together for the betterment of the county. And I must say thank you to all our committee, our staff, and our board members on the various commissions and our citizens who've become involved in this effort. And we will have another meeting on Thursday at 12:30. Thank you. Does anyone want to add anything to that? Mr. Foreman?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Moving on, item number 12, request by council members. Mr. Waters. Wake him up down there, Tom.
None at this time.
Got any? Oh, you have any?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't have any.
Mr. Allen?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, yeah, I've got clobbered tonight. Everybody realizes when the fiscal year starts. So I've got three of them I'd like to do, and I'll just do them all at once if that's okay.
That's fine, if that's what you like to do.
And these are pretty much standard. To the Pendleton Recreation Department, I'd like to take $5,000 from my recreation fund. For the Townville Recreation Department, $2,000. And for the Main Street program, $500 from my recreation fund. I'd put those three in the form of a motion.
Have a second? Second, Mr. Waters. Any further discussion? All in favor of Mr. Allen's motion, show of hands. All opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. Mr. Cole?
Mr. Chairman, it's good to have money. And they're like,
Well, it's good and it ain't good.
like Alan said, the requests are rolling in, but I've got two tonight. The Dalton Honeypath Young Farmers and Agribusiness Association requested from everyone, but I'm going to allocate $300 to them, and the Anderson County Quick Striders Track Club $250. Motion.
Second, Ms. Wilson. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. All opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Cole. Mr. Crowder?
Thank you, Chairman. Out of my recreation account for District 1, I'd like to give $1,000 to the Boy Scout troop. I'd like to give $300 for the American Young Farmers, and I would like to give $200 to the Distinguished Young Women.
Is that it?
That's it.
Have that form of a motion. Have a second? Second. Second, Mr. Allen. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. All opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. Ms. Wilson?
There's very little money, and you have to be almost like Solomon to try and figure out how to fairly and wisely provide. The following list is for District 7 rec funds. $200 to the Anderson Young Farmers, $2,500 to the Honeypath Fire and EMS for the turnout gear, $2,500 to the town of Honeypath for their recreational programs and needs, and $200 to the Anderson Quick Striders Track Club, $200 for the Distinguished Young Women, $200 Anderson Lights of Hope, and $200 to the Main Street program, and $5,000 for the Caroline Community Center in Williamston. And I put that in the form of a motion.
Have a motion, have a second.
Second.
Mr. Allen. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. All opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. Moving on, out of District 5's rec account, I'd like to take up $1,200, go to the Anderson Young Farmers Association to finish out their request. Put that in form of a motion.
Second.
Second, Mr. Waters. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, show of hands. All opposed, like sign, so the motion carries unanimously. Just want to add, it is starting a new fiscal year. I know we've had a lot of requests tonight, and I've got some from all council members and other things. I will be looking at this, and I'm not saying I won't give back, but I want to study my list a little bit further because we don't have but so much money, and got to be very mindful what you do for one group, you got another group. So try to do what's good for the county as a whole. So I will be studying this and making a recommendation next council meeting. Moving on, next will be citizens' comments. Mr. Harmon?
There are no citizens signed up, Mr. Chairman.
Huh? Sure you don't want to get up there? Remarks from council members. Ms. Wilson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Quick reminder, we will have the Planning and Public Works meeting on Thursday at 12:30. We'll have a continued review of the county comp plan, discussion of sign ordinance and enforcement issues, and an update on litter. And certainly would appreciate any attendance and input. Thank you.
Thank you. Crowder?
Mr. Burns, is there any need for the Finance Committee meeting on Friday?
Council meeting, Mr. Crowder.
Yes, sir.
And Friday would be an ideal day.
How about Friday? Let's look at the other members of the Finance Committee. Is Friday good for you? This
Yeah.
Friday. Is Friday good for you? 1 o'clock? 1 o'clock, Friday. Kim, if you'd send out an email, please, so I'll put it on my phone. Thank you.
Anything else?
No other comments.
Mr. Cole?
Nothing at this time, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Allen?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Waters?
Could we take a break? I've got about a 45-minute speech I'd like to make.
And you might be making it to yourself.
I move that we adjourn.
I just, wanted to offer it up there. Had a pretty good time over at Simpsonville. I think some of Anderson County worked with those guys for their 4th of July celebration, and I believe they'll be coming over here for our Labor Day celebration. So looks like we're gonna have a pretty good relationship with those guys over there. Enjoyed the fireworks show, and Darryl Worley done a great job, just like he did here last year. And that's all I have at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Waters. Like a couple things to start off with, I'd like to say, for ones that wasn't here, to start with, Miss Floyd, unable to attend tonight. I don't really know why, but I hope if it's health, anything, she gets to feeling better, and her resolution was pulled at her request. But I do want to say on behalf of, I hope, each citizen of Anderson County, and on behalf of each council member, show our sincere sympathy to the church members of Charleston, and the citizens, families, and friends of them, and our hearts go out to them. Has been also a support of what's going on throughout the state of South Carolina, and I think to show what's the right way to handle the situation. I want to again thank Mr. Cole for his encouraging words tonight. Thought it was excellent, and I just want to stay on the record. Moving on to a lighter note, Mr. Burns, web page is going to be. I know you wanted to make this announcement, but can I?
You can, Mr. Dunn.
Web page is going to be up the Monday. This coming Monday, the web page.
But it will
So
be,
look, if the web page ain't up this Monday, I'm coming. We'll all come up here and burn the courthouse down.
but it will go down Friday, late Friday.
It never was up. So don't even worry about that. Don't even worry about that. It ain't worth mentioning. Mr. Burns,
Sure.
along with Ms. Wilson's committee report, me and you had a conversation. You're in the process and hoping next council meeting you can make a recommendation about a consultant group on our EMS.
Yes,
To
sir.
work with us on our EMS
Yes, sir.
countywide system, what we need, to hobnob and something other.
Yes, sir.
We've got contracts coming up in January. We got one coming up in this month. It's already up, so we need to get this looked at and get started. I think that's the first sign, is get a group to come in here and work with us. Along those lines, also would want to welcome, glad to see Mr. Crowder back. Hope he's feeling better. Hope you get stronger and get feeling better, Mr. Crowder. And our thoughts and prayers have been with you, continue to be, and glad to have you back. Appreciate all the council members tonight. And Mr. Waters, unlike you, I do have a 45-minute speech, so get ready. But I do want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and appreciate it. And y'all have a good rest of the week, and we'll see y'all in 2 weeks from tonight. Thank y'all. Make be adjourned.